He wasn't on the guest list. He wore untied sneakers and held a juice box. But when the janitor's son walked into the meeting, the CEO stopped the presentation and canceled everything. Her name was Danica Moore, 42, afro, tight bun, third shift janitor. Every night, 10 p.m. sharp, she arrived at the downtown headquarters of Halberg and Lohm, a billion-dollar tech firm that barely noticed her, but she noticed everything. On Tuesday night, Danica brought her 8-year-old son with her, Cairo, thin frame, eyes too big for his face. He held a plastic lunchbox shaped like a race car and wore Velcro sneakers from Goodwill that squeaked on the marble. "Just for tonight, baby," she whispered. "Don't touch nothing. Don't talk to nobody." Cairo nodded. She handed him a coloring book and sat him behind the reception desk in the empty lobby. He had done this before. He knew the rules. But tonight was different. Because while Danica scrubbed the glass walls of conference room 4B, she overheard things she shouldn't have. White men in tailored navy suits. One blonde woman with high heels so loud they echoed like threats. "Cut them all. Marketing, support, janitorial, dead weight. No one will notice. They barely know how to use the damn vending machine." Laughter. Danica froze, holding her mop like a shield. They didn't lower their voices, they didn't pause. Because she was invisible. And they were invincible. She pressed her forehead against the cool glass. Her breath left a foggy smear. Behind her, Cairo was curled up by the elevator with a crayon in his hand, and no idea what the word redundant meant. By midnight, Danica found a forgotten tablet on a desk. Someone from HR must have left it. Cairo tapped the screen, and it lit up with notes from the next day's strategy meeting. He scrolled without asking. Danica didn't stop him. "I want to know what they say," he said. "You don't need to know that mess." "I already do." The boy started reading aloud, big words he shouldn't know. "Reallocation, cost burden, DEI initiative, spin control." Danica snatched the tablet, her heart beating faster than the janitor cartwheels. She should have turned it in. She should have said nothing. But instead, she told her son what they meant, word by word. Not because she wanted to, but because he asked. And because it didn't feel right anymore, cleaning up after people who spoke like that, about people like her. That night, in the break room, under flickering fluorescent lights, she turned a betrayal into a bedtime lesson. At 3:14 a.m., a man in a badge approached. "You're not allowed to bring kids here, you know that, right?" Danica stood in front of Cairo. "No one told me that when y'all needed double shifts during COVID." The man squinted. "Well, it's policy now." She was too tired to argue, too smart to beg. Instead, she picked up her son and left through the side door, pushing the mop bucket with one hand, holding her son in the other. As they passed the CEO's car, a black Tesla with tinted windows, Cairo whispered, "Do CEOs know everything?" Danica replied without looking. "Only what they're brave enough to hear." The next morning, Danica didn't go home. She sat on a city bench outside the building with Cairo asleep on her lap and a half-eaten bag of vending machine crackers in her coat pocket. Her phone buzzed. New schedule posted. Her hours had been cut in half. No warning, no reason. After 10 years. 10 years of waxing floors at midnight and hiding coughs in storage closets. She stared at the screen like it was a slap. Next to her, Cairo stirred. "Are we going back tomorrow?" he mumbled. She didn't answer, just hugged him tighter. Inside, the 15th floor boardroom was being prepped. Coffee carts rolled in, bagels, touchscreens, polished water glasses. The quarterly strategy meeting was in motion. 23 executives took their seats, suits and dresses that cost more than Danica's monthly rent. Their assistant, a bright-eyed white woman named Erin, passed out folders. No one noticed the little boy wandering off the elevator. Cairo had memorized the path. He followed signs like they were breadcrumbs. Strategic Ops, Main Conference. He peeked around the corner, one sneaker half off. Inside the room, a PowerPoint flickered. Slide 7. Cost Efficiency. And here we project a 12% increase in shareholder value if we restructure departments B through F. We've also initiated quiet exits in our lower-tier workforce. Like my mom? Silence. Cairo's voice was small, clear. but in a glass room that echoed like a bell tower, it struck like lightning. Heads turned. Someone gasped. A man in a gray suit stood. Who let this child in? Cairo stepped forward. My mom's the janitor. You're cutting her. Gasps turned into chair scrapes. The CEO, a tall, sharp-featured woman named Kendall Merritt, slowly turned from the head of the table. She taught me the words in your slides. I know what restructure means now. Aaron rushed forward, panicked. I am so sorry, Ms. Merritt. I think... But Kendall raised her hand. The room froze. Even the laptop fans went silent. What's your name? She asked. Cairo. He looked directly at her. No fear, no blinking. He pointed to the screen. That part's wrong. About the people who don't matter. That's not true. You wouldn't know where anything is in this building without her. He paused. You dropped your phone last night in the parking lot. My mom picked it up. Kendall's eyes twitched. She had lost her phone. Her hand moved to her pocket. Empty. And she wiped it clean. She didn't steal it. She didn't even look at it. She just said, someone's always watching you, even if you don't look back. Dead silence, then a cough. Then, well, muttered the man in gray, this is off protocol. Kendall turned to him slowly. You think protocol is what this company runs on? Her voice was low, controlled. He started to speak again, but she raised her voice. Get out. He blinked. I'm sorry? I said get out of the room. He stood, stunned, collected his laptop. Now, she repeated. He left. Aaron tried to guide Cairo out, but Kendall shook her head. Let him stay. Kendall walked over, kneeled down, and looked him in the eyes. You hungry? Cairo hesitated, then nodded once. She snapped her fingers. Aaron, real food, not bagels. Kendall turned back to the boardroom. We'll resume in 10. But she didn't sit. She stared at the slide. Slide 7. And then walked over and deleted it. This is the climax. Everything you've been waiting for, right here. Stay to see how this ends. Danica stood frozen in the hallway when she saw her son walk out of the boardroom, smiling, not confused, not crying. Smiling like he just won something and didn't even know what. And then she saw her, the CEO, Kendall Merritt, walking behind him with 2 interns and a tray of real food. Hot, wrapped, paid for. Danica grabbed Cairo's hand. I told you to stay in the closet, she whispered, heat rising in her face. Cairo just looked up and said, I told them about the phone. Danica's knees buckled. You what? Before she could react further, Kendall stopped in front of them and said the words Danica never expected to hear. You should be in the room. Danica blinked. Ma'am, I clean floors. I shouldn't even be on this level. You've heard every meeting for the last 10 years, haven't you? Danica froze. Yes, ma'am. You know how we make decisions? Some. You know when they're wrong? Yes. Kendall took a deep breath. You're the only person who's never lied to me in this building. Danica's eyes filled, but she held them back. I've never said anything, ma'am. Kendall smiled slightly. That's why. 10 minutes later, Danica was sitting in the corner of the boardroom. Not as staff, not as janitorial. Just there. Some execs were clearly uncomfortable. A few gave sideways glances. One woman muttered, This isn't how we do things. Kendall heard it. She walked back to the head of the table, placed her hands down flat, and said, We do now. Then she turned to the screen again. I want you to take notes, she said to Aaron. Real ones. From today. Click. Slide. 1. Cairo sat beside his mom, nibbling on a chicken sandwich. Danica tried to shrink in her chair, but it wasn't working, because all eyes were slowly, respectfully, glancing at her. And then came the question that cracked the room wide open. Kendall turned and asked, Danica, what do you think of this strategy? A pause that felt like thunder. Danica's voice trembled at first. I think cutting customer support will break the company's spine. People shifted. Because the people who actually pick up the phones, they're the ones who fix our mistakes. You just don't see it. Silence. Then one of the execs coughed. And how do you know that? Danica didn't flinch. I sit 2 feet from the call center every day. They cry on their lunch breaks. I hear them whisper numbers. I hear them threaten to quit. And when they do, no one replaces them. No response. Kendall stood very still, her eyes locked on Danica's. And then she said it. To everyone in the room. From this moment forward, Danica is on my advisory staff. Gasps, murmurs, stifled protests. One man muttered, "She doesn't even have a—" "I don't care," Kendall snapped. "She has ears, she has a spine, and she knows more about what's broken than any of us." Then she turned, looked down at Cairo, and added, "And her son just saved this company from making its worst mistake." Danica's hand went to her mouth. Cairo just nodded and whispered, "That's what you taught me, Mom." Fade out. Danica, janitor turned advisor, cleaning her own nameplate. Cairo sketching on a notepad in the background. And Kendall Merritt, watching from the hallway, smiling. Because sometimes all it takes is one sentence from the wrong person, at the right moment. Want more? Watch the story of a courier who accidentally delivered a package to his childhood best friend, who's now a CEO.